Hey, good morning. Welcome to Travels with Dottie. It's what is it, the 5th of June, 2025, and I've only got a couple more days here in southern New Mexico, and I'm going to head north, and I'm just about ready to do that. On Sunday morning, I'm going to be taking off for Eagle Nest for the summer, so you're going to see a whole new summer content, and I'm excited about that. So that's going to happen Sunday morning. In the meantime, today, I'm looking at the wonderful comments and what viewers have to say, and I always enjoy it. I love the comments. You might notice if you put in a comment, you get a like and a love like almost immediately, and people are shocked by that. But it's like I get notifications on my phone when I get a comment, and if I'm not busy doing something else, I'm going to look at and read that comment as soon as it comes through. That's how excited I am by your comments. So I've been trying to different tact here. I want to stay around 20 minutes or so, between 20 and 30 minutes. And instead of going back old to new, I'm going to do the latest ones. And I'm not going to read them all. I'm going to read ones where I think I might have something to say about it. Mostly. I'm feeling my way here, guys. From yesterday, the positive news video is titled, "This Rat is No Rat." It's about a study that's amazing that found that a rat will not do something to harm another rat, even though it knows it can be rewarded for it. And it was deeper than just simple stimulus and response, and maybe there's a correlation that's not causation. But they did do a brain scan on these rats and found that the same area that lights up in a human when they have empathy and kindness towards another person, the same area is lighting up in these rats when they do this. So rats have empathy and kindness. Would you ever guess that? And Nash says, wow, it's very interesting to see how even animals have empathy, just to show you we should love one another as God commands. Blessings. Let's see. Click. I can go down. On Retired Broke and Out of Options, that's been a very popular video. Thousands of views. I didn't see that coming. Richard Bostwick says, not a good idea taking Social Security at 62. It's a standalone sentence. And Richard, thanks for commenting. And it's not a good, I'm going to add to your sentence for you. Not a good idea to take Social Security at 62 for many people, but not for all people. It's a great idea to take it at 62 if you can't work anymore, if you have other income and you want to retire early, if your health is poor, and there's lots of really great reasons to take it at 62. So I'm gonna do a friendly amendment to your sentence, but the rest is pretty good. You should not retire before paying off debts. If you have the option, I think that's a great idea. I waited before maximizing 401k or RRI, but waited to take Social Security until full retirement age and debts paid off. I stopped working at 69 because earnings limited in Social Security taxation. It's ridiculous that Social Security is taxed should you choose to work. Even now with no debt, still have home expenses, taxes, insurance, etc. These costs are killing me in suburban area. I haven't touched my retirement fund until RMD hits. RMD. I don't know. I don't know what that is. But somebody will know, get it right away. If you watch expenses and you blow money eating out every day or wasting on unnecessary items, you can live well. But the suburbs costs are too expensive. You need to look at housing away from metro area if you want to own a home. I think a lot of that makes sense. Big cities, expensive suburban areas. There are lots of places in the country that you can live if you really want to live in a house and rent or buy a really nice little place that you'll be comfortable in and be able to afford it. And there's also expat situations where people are retiring to Mexico and Panama, Portugal. There are all sorts of options available to you. You just got to find out what they are and find out what you're comfortable with. And it's one of those YouTube handles that it's a bunch of letters and numbers, but he said, OMFG, there's some bad language in that acronym, but I found Larry Lawton's long lost twin brother. Who is Larry Lawton? Let's look up Larry Lawton together. Has anyone ever heard of him, Larry Lawton? I guess he's a YouTuber. He's my age. He's, well, a year younger than me, and we look somewhat alike. He's pretty muscle bound. American ex-combat, author, paralegal, motivational speaker, and YouTuber. Let's see. Where did he gain? He gained notoriety for committing a string of jewelry store robberies along the Atlantic seaboard prior to his arrest in 1996. 12 years in prison. Once released, began a career as a motivational speaker, life coach, and author. I don't think I look too much like him. So he's bald, and he has a mustache and beard. I don't see it. But if you guys do, let me know. It's hard to see yourself the way others see you. And Ken Gray on the rat study said that's a very interesting study, and it definitely is. Cotty Wample says, this is on my road trip to Roswell. I was told by a park ranger, actual crash site is between Roswell and Albuquerque, 70 miles. He said it was Roswell because of the base that investigated the crash. So there's other comments on this. The crash site, in my opinion, there's really nothing to see. It's just open desert on a private ranch. Now, if you go research it, you see there's BLM land next to it where they have a parking area and a trail. But the last I heard, the private owner put up a gate and no trespassing signs. Even though there may be a trail from BLM land, it's adjacent to BLM land, and you can't walk on private property, especially if there's a no trespassing sign. The only way for me to find out whether that's accurate or not is drive out there, and I'm not going to do that. Let's see. Ride along with me today. Go to the thrift shop, and Arizona Zoe was all stoked about it. I got a beautiful painting, I guess it's a drawing, picture, I don't know. It's framed, it's beautiful, it's tomato, it looks like tomatoes and peppers, or red peppers and green peppers. I just love the colors and everything. And a beautiful blue comforter, $5 each. And it would have been $2.50 each if I waited until today, because at this thrift store, Second Chances in Artesia, it's 50% off if you're 65 or older. Susan B says on the same video, ride along with me. I live in Maine now, but I've lived on both coasts, north and south, and spent time in the middle as a child. And maybe that's why I love license plates. I saw a New Mexico plate years ago in New York with my favorite colors and flowers on it and loved it. New Mexico plates are my favorite in the whole country. They're beautiful. It must be a good state that wants beautiful license plates. Yeah, when I got the red and the yellow, I just love the combination. I do that a lot of my thumbnails, red and yellow. And there's 5 free ones, and then below on the wall at the DMV they have a whole row after ones you can pay for that are beautifully designed. And yeah, I think New Mexico has the coolest license plates. Chris, I have not seen Chris comment before, and it was on what do people do to make retirement awesome? And Chris says, I'm retired already at 41, working with my hands. It gets very boring with nothing to do. I hesitate to... I said I hesitate, but there's a couple of things I want to say anyway. If there's not a medical reason or something that you having to retire at 41, you're working with your hands and you don't want to do that anymore, maybe you can find a brand new career in something that you enjoy. Or if you have enough income coming in, find some kind of volunteer work that makes you happy. Find something that makes you happy. And I think the key is, whether you're retired at 41 or 81, is finding purpose in your retirement. Purpose. It's important. It staves off that boredom, right? I do counseling one day a week, just a few sessions. But my clients mean a lot to me, and the work means a lot to me. And I do videos every day, and that gives me purpose. Like I feel like I'm contributing to other people, and that gives me a sense of purpose, and that's fueling a big part of my joy in retirement. Let's see. Someone says, do your 401k contributions if you have access to one. That's always a good idea. I think when I worked for county government, it was 403b or something. It wasn't 401k. It was a little different. Let's see. On the trip to the thrift store, I also went to the country market here in Artesia. And Donna West says, nice store. I love it. Nice, clean stock store. Great thrift store as well. And great sushi. They roll their own sushi right there. You can see them doing it. And it is so good. And it's like a big package of sushi is $6 or $7. It's so wonderful. Planner Mima says, we're collecting at Social Security at 62. Husband and heart issues and longevity is not on my side. I've crunched the numbers, and for us, 72 is the break-even point for us. That's my point. And this one was on my video, Retiring on the Road, Start Here, Social Security and Medicare Basics. And that was a pretty well-received video. What I tried to do was say, hey, these are two very complicated subjects, but I'm going to give you the 40,000-foot level view of them so you can get educated enough to start asking the questions that will fill in the big picture for you to get into the weeds and the details. And this comment plays into what I just said a few minutes ago, is collecting at 62 is a good option for some people. On Road Trip to Roswell, I'm waxing theoretical and about aliens and life on other planets and all the theories that I've heard about. I was driving and going on about that. And Tommy said, there are billions of planets. We can't be the only beings in the universe. How high and mighty we think we are the only intelligent life. And he says, Roswell is on my bucket list. Developers says, try $21,800 on Social Security alone. Okay. So, sounds like someone's getting $21,800. That's all they're getting, and they're not happy with it. Try $21,800 at Social Security alone. Okay. I think that may be the point, but I guess if you're doing this lifestyle and doing things in a thrifty way, like many of my friends, not staying in RV parks, finding a way to boondock comfortably, $21,000 will go a long way. Cumberland Quilt Chick. I've been a widow for 12 plus years. I'm not 60, but when I'm 60, I can collect Social Security because I've never remarried. Not many people talk about this. Might make a good video. Yet, there are really good videos on the details of Social Security. Now, I don't want to start doing Social Security videos. That said, there are Ed WEIR does videos every day. He used to be the manager of, I think, the third largest Social Security office in the country, and he's got really great videos, and he talks about survivor benefits for Social Security and exactly what you're talking about. And there are many others that have educational videos on the details of Social Security. I encourage you guys to check those out. I'm not an expert, so I'm not gonna go into the details on a video. So Eugene says, I'm sorry, Rob, could you please explain in your next video about SSI and residency? I'm still confused about residency. Will Social Security stop paying me if I don't have a residency? And now the residency in the video was about getting a Advantage plan with Medicare or getting a Medigap plan. Those are sold because they're administered by private insurance companies. They are regulated by state. Therefore, you must have a state of residency and an address they can send stuff to. And you go through a broker. If you go through a broker, which is a good idea, one that's licensed in that state. And Eugene, if you're still confused, find a good broker and they will explain everything to you. And most states have free services that can help you make decisions about Medicare and Social Security. Jasper says, love the ocean video. And it must be because the screensaver was on and I didn't realize it when I was doing the video and it showed the ocean. Susan B said, I kept working until I was 70, partly out of habit and partly because I loved my job. I retired at 70, then worked for 3 more years. I just turned 80. My health is excellent. I have a comfortable income. Good for you. I'm not criticizing anyone who's retiring earlier. It depends on circumstances. Different strokes, as they say. Love your beautiful fish screen. So if she saw fish, the other guy saw ocean. Lovely color, my favorite color. Once again, very good info. I'll turn 65 in November. That's from Joe McIntosh. And Susan, I didn't comment on what Susan said. I think that's great. I liked my job. I wouldn't say there are parts of my job that I loved. I did mental health emergencies in Fairfax County, Virginia, and I worked in an emergency clinic. I worked out in the field, helping with emotional crisis out in the community. I worked with the police quite a bit to bring mental health into their interactions. It was very rewarding, and I loved every minute of it. However, despite me loving it, it was still very stressful, and it would not have been good for my health to continue that job many more years, and I realized that. But if I was doing something that I loved that much that wasn't stressful, I might be still working. Who knows? So here's Bob Martins is a Canadian, and he says he retired at 62 as a Canadian, today in 68, and get $1,924 per month, plus we get free medical and now dental, depending on your income. My wife gets about $1,250 per month. It's based on how much you put in while you were working. He sounds happy and comfortable with that. And I guess that's probably in Canadian dollars, maybe? I'm not sure. He didn't specify. I would assume so. They're Canadian. They should be talking in Canadian dollars. Oh, Haas. Thank you, Rob, and your beautiful family, furry friends, for keeping us informed and entertained. As I'm an RVer from all my past posts, but I had a medical emergency. I'm sorry, Haas. And have been in the hospital for over a week. I'm getting out in a couple days. That's good news. Just letting you know you're doing a great job. See you all soon on the road. Yeah, good luck with that. And that was a day ago, so maybe you're getting out, well, tomorrow, maybe? I hope so. Stanley said, watch the Senate hearing about corrupt practices of Medicare Advantage insurance companies. There's a link there. It's on the Senate website hearings. It's Medicare Advantage annual enrollment, cracking down on deceptive practices and improving senior experiences. That's it. Thank you for that link. And he also says, be very skeptical when listening to Medicare insurance brokers. They get much more commissions when they sell you an Advantage plan than for a supplement and drug plan. Now, I knew that, and that's why the reason I always say, find a trusted insurance broker. Find reason to trust them. You don't want to get someone to steer you into a decision because they make more money on the commission. And a good sign of that is you're talking to somebody and they talk up Advantage plans and talk down the Medigap plans without really completely hearing your full story. That's a red flag. That's a red flag. They should be telling you, after getting all your information, they should be telling you what the best fit for you might be and what the pluses and minuses are and the cost and benefits. All right, we hit the 20-minute mark, so not that much longer. Let's see. Stanley, again, has Medicare does cover medications while you're in the hospital. I said in the video they don't cover medications, but they do just in the hospital. And I think everybody knew that I meant medications that you go to the pharmacy and pick up and take it home. It's not covered. You need a drug insurance plan called a Part D, which I talked about. There are many covering a different list of drugs. They're formulary. When you select a drug plan, see if your medications are covered and at what tier amount that's the amount you pay for the drug. Medicare.gov has a system to help you choose your supplement and drug plans. They absolutely do. Go in there, you put in your zip code, then you say, I'm looking for drug plans, and you can actually go in and put in the medications that you take and the dosages and pick a pharmacy, and it will price out all the Part D plans with your medications. Really good resource on Medicare.gov. Eugene says, hey, okay, Rob, I'm 70 now. I retired when I was 62. I only made $930 a month then. I'm only making $1,400 now after Medicare deductions. Does that seem right to you? It does. You started 8 years ago at $930 a month, and you would have gotten the annual cost of living increases. And then when you hit 65, you would have reversed 185. They would have started taking the 185 or whatever it was. That goes up every year too. It would have taken probably close to $150 in that first year per month out of your check for Medicare, and then every month thereafter with the annual increases. And without doing the calculations, $1,400 does seem about right to me. Okay, here's another opposite opinion on taking Social Security at 62. You always want to take Social Security at 62 years old. Okay. Again, I'm going to amend the sentence. You may want to take Social Security at 62 years old. That's a good idea for some people. The math will explain why if you wait until you're 67, the return on an 18 years, meaning it would take you 18 years to make all the money that you would have made between 62 and 67. Okay, I don't know about the accuracy of that number, but I know what she's talking about. She's saying, if I'm going to wait until 67, let's compare it to taking it at 62. So you want to figure out what you're going to pull out of the system between 62 and 67, and that's going to be a pile of money, right? A big pile of money. Put that aside. And then you want to figure out if I started at 67, what's the difference between what I'm going to get given that I started at 62, and if I had waited for 67, that $200, $300, $400, $1,000, whatever that difference is, and figure out what that is annually and divide that into that big chunk of cash. And she says for her, it's 18 years. You might want to try that calculation. It's not that hard to do. Let me see. I got time maybe for one more. We're at 25 minutes. Oh, this is a good thing. Granger, is it Dr. Granger too? Good morning. Good information. Thanks, Rob, on an Advantage program. And I'm thinking of going to Medicare this December. Any input? He means a Medigap plan, I assume. So I said the only thing is that if you go to a Medigap plan, you'll have to go through underwriting, which means they'll take into account your medical history in pre-existing conditions. I would see a trusted broker. And he said, yeah, that's what I heard. I'm too old and broken to go through all that. Appreciate the response, Rob. I do. You can change, I believe, during open enrollment. I think every year you can change Advantage plans, though, without going through underwriting. Okay, this is a little self-indulgent, but I'm going to make this one the last one. The Deal Hunter says, as a full-time retired dude, I think you gave a better explanation of Social Security and Medicare than other professionals on YouTube. I don't know if that's true, but I appreciate the compliment. Hey, thanks so much for joining me today for this video. And even if I don't get a ton of views on these feedback videos, I sure enjoy doing them so much, and I really enjoy your comments. Thank you for your participation, and thank you for watching the video. Take care, and Dottie and I and George, listen. That's George going into the litter box. He's a little late. Take care, and I'll see you tomorrow.